are you, gentlemen? All your base are belong to us. You are on the way to destruction.
Hello, Zero Books readers and viewers. It's me again, Douglas Lane, and in this video, I'll be critiquing memes. And by that, I don't mean that I'll be deciding which memes are based and which are cringe, nor declaring this or that meme to be dead, but rather I'll be explaining and critiquing the concept of the meme, starting with the original meaning as the meme king, Richard Dawkins, defined it. Along the way, I'll take an excerpt from an upcoming Zero Books title by Mike Watson, which is The Memeing of Mark Fisher. The original definition of the word meme comes from Richard Dawkins' 1976 book, The Selfish Gene. In the book, Dawkins argued that animal behavior around sexual reproduction, the willingness of a bee or a bird to risk its own individual life in an effort to pollinate or fertilize, is best explained as being driven by an unconscious desire to preserve and pass down its genes. The purpose of DNA is, according to Dawkins, to survive, while the purpose of an animal is to assist the DNA in its mission without regard to its own survival. Memes, according to Dawkins, are cultural practices or concepts that are, like genes, selfish. The purpose of a meme is not to enlighten, educate, or serve humanity in any way. Rather, a meme is a cultural product that aims only at self-replication. Social practices such as abstinence from consuming pork, the telling of an unfunny joke, and the practice of washing your hands after using the restroom are all examples of memes as Dawkins originally defined the term. Memes, according to Dawkins, change and mutate as they replicate. But what is most significant about Dawkins' conception of the meme is that just as conceiving of the history of humanity in terms of the reproduction, preservation, and the mutation of genes leads to conceiving of humans as merely vehicles for their DNA, conceiving of culture in terms of replicating memes reduces our subjectivity to the level of a mere appearance. Rather than our ideas being passed along due to their functionality, beauty, or relationship to a comprehensible truth, our minds are merely receptacles for viral concepts, practices, and ideologies. From this perspective, the advancements or changes in culture and art that we've experienced aren't expressions of our collective wills, nor even expressions of our wills as guided by ideology, but are, as Dawkins puts it, the consequence of mutations in the mind. To understand just how destructive this conception of culture actually is, consider a few lines from Laurie Anderson's song, "Language is a Virus." You know, I don't believe there's such a thing as TV. I mean, they just keep showing the same pictures over and over. And when they talk, they just make sounds that more or less sync up with their lips. That's what I think. Language, it's a virus. If you enjoy these videos, you should click on the subscribe button and click that bell. And you should also consider supporting us on Patreon. Patrons get access to our behind-the-scenes parrot room discussions, where we let our hair down, dish out gossip, or go into the weeds on topics such as the tendency of the rate of profit to decline, imperialism, and the critical theory of Bernard Morton Capel. You'll also get access to our podcasts on From Crisis to Communization, Reform and Revolution, and the history of the Russian Revolution, just as soon as I can coordinate times to record with Danny and or my kids. Your support makes videos like this one possible. Thanks for watching. Or we can look to the work of the novelist and filmmaker B.S. Johnson, whose short Paradigm featured a protagonist who, through the use of prosthetics and makeup, seemed to age as he sat naked in front of the camera and spoke in an invented language. He spoke meaningless nonsense words at first in an imitation of fluency, but as he aged, his command of the replicated noise and sounds faltered, and he became more and more inarticulate. But the difference between properly articulated nonsense and stuttering failed attempts at meaninglessness is difficult to spot.
Break it down.
In B.S. Johnson's 1969 novel, The Unfortunates is a collection of loose pages or sections that are meant to be read in any order. The parts are meant to be rearranged so that the notion of a meaningful sequence is itself challenged. The book is a meditation on death, and it represented Johnson's attempt to illustrate the mind's randomness and his attempt to escape from the imposed order that had been built up around the novel. It was part of Johnson's war on fiction and an expression of his commitment to a truth that he could only conceive of as random and cruel. What is a meme? Could it be the primary art form of a culture that no longer believes in itself? As Mike Watson notes in his upcoming book, The Memeing of Mark Fisher, the Frankfurt School philosopher Theodor Adorno's description of the funny papers from Minima Moralia would also work as an apt indictment of memes and meme culture. Adorno wrote, "Schooled by innumerable prior cases, one is supposed to see what's happening faster than the significant moments of the situation are developing. What such pictures act out, in anticipation of their completion by the well-versed observer, is the throwing of all meaning overboard like ballast in the snapshot of the situation, and the unresisting subjugation to the empty hegemony of things. The state of the art joke is the suicide of intention." The reduction of thoughts to memes, in both the original sense that Dawkins described, or as understood by the plethora of poorly crafted and mostly disturbing online GIFs and images, is just another step on the road that our society is taking towards the destruction of human subjectivity.
Orwell was a pie-eyed optimist. 1984 arrived in sort of the early 70s, and Orwell's vision of a horrible future, which was a boot stomping on a human face forever, is a utopian image because he assumed there would be resistance and human faces, both of which may turn out to be false. So, I mean, 1984 is not a book that scares me anymore.
Thanks for watching this Zero Books video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to this channel and click on the notifications bell so that you'll be alerted whenever we release a new video. You should also consider supporting us on Patreon. Our patrons get access to our Inside Zero Books podcast every week and can get access to the Zero Books Book Club and help us to continue making online content from the left.